In this video, I'm going to be telling you guys what the best weapons and what the worst weapons are in Dead Rail. So if you guys enjoyed this video, or in case the video just helps you out, make sure to like button, subscribe, make sure to join my Discord, link is in the description below. Make sure to comment below what your favorite weapon is to use in this game. And let's get right into it. Alright guys, so coming in 17th place is going to be the Crucifix. Now, while I don't recommend using this as a weapon, it can be fairly useful against werewolves, just because it does so much damage. Like, that was a really good example. It also does AoE because the lightning bolt does AoE. So you guys can see it is like, in itself, Crucifix is a very, very, very powerful weapon. But the problem with Crucifix, in all honesty, is because it is so expensive. It is better used to reload Electrocutioner or even like just sell. But if you have too much money than what you know what to do with, it is a very good weapon to use. I just think using it as a weapon is kind of pointless unless you're really far into the run. And by then you have stuff like rifles. So you shouldn't even need to get to the situation where you need to use a Crucifix. But it is a very, very powerful weapon if you already have enough money. Alright guys, so coming in 16th place is going to be the Shovel / Pickaxe. There's not much to say about it. It's the worst weapon in the entire game that, you know, you can't sell. The only reason why Crucifix ranked lower is because it's worth a lot of money, so I wouldn't recommend ever using it as an actual weapon. It's just like, it's the most basic weapon in the game. It takes 5 or more hits to kill a zombie. It's basic. I mean, what else can I say about it? It's a shovel, man. It's a shovel. Alright, so coming in 15th place is going to be the Cavalry Sword. Now, the Cavalry Sword, quite frankly, is not a very good weapon. You should honestly just sell it if you find one. But in case you do want to use it, it is in fact better than a shovel or pickaxe. So if you find it, you can just replace it for that if you want to. Not really much else to say about this weapon. It's just like, it's not very good for actual combat. Melee weapons in general are kind of buns in this game. So I heavily recommend going for a ranged weapon instead of this. But in case you get stuck with it, it does do more damage than a shovel or a pickaxe. Now, coming to 14th place is actually going to be the Vampire Knife. The reason why Vampire Knife is going to rank so low is because, if I'm being honest with you, unless you are literally playing the Vampire class, which I am, by the way, this is the Vampire class. Unless you're literally playing the Vampire class, the reason why it's so good with the Vampire class is because you need to heal to stay alive. And not only that, Vampire gets buffed melee damage. So because of the Vampire class, you can easily take out a zombie and heal to full before they can even damage you. And you also have a speed bonus, which makes the knife even better, as I'll show you guys here in a second once I kill all these guys. So because of your speed bonus, you can outrun even runner zombies and kite them back like this, and you won't be able to get hit, and you can just get free heals. You cannot do this with a normal class, which is the reason why Vampire Knife is going to be ranking so low in this list. The heal is honestly worthless on a normal class, because since you can't outspeed runner zombies and things like that, 99% of the time, by the 40k mark, which is where castle spawns, this weapon will literally be worthless to you. You will not out-heal a werewolf doing damage to you, while with the Vampire class, you could run away and kite the werewolf. You can't do that with a normal class. So I honestly think Vampire Knife on its own is really bad, but when you combine it with the Vampire class, it is obviously very strong. Now, coming to 13th place is going to be the Tomahawk. Now, the Tomahawk is the highest normal damage melee weapon in the entire game. Please note, I am using Survivalist, so this Tomahawk does do more damage because I am using the Survivalist class. But the Tomahawk is the highest damage base weapon in the entire game. So I do think Tomahawk definitely deserves to be the highest ranking melee weapon in the game. I would argue that it is very similar to Vampire Knife. Vampire Knife might be a little bit better than Tomahawk in certain situations, but just having the raw damage can make a big difference in a life or death situation. So that's the main reason why I'm going to be ranking Tomahawk 13th. Feel free to swap this with Vampire Knife if you don't agree, though. Alright guys, so coming in 12th place is going to be the Molotov. Now, don't be confused at the amount of damage Molotov is doing right now. It is because I'm playing the Arsonist class, and Molotovs do a ton of damage if you're playing the Arsonist class. Now, I will say that Molotov is never a bad thing to have, just because they are very, very cheap to buy. So they can be a very, very, very cost-effective weapon on dealing with zombies. If you're playing Arsonist, Molotov honestly ranks a lot higher, just because they cost 10 per, and if you group them up with a horse, which I'm not doing right now, but if you group them up with a horse, you can literally take out the entire town with a single Molotov. Even if you're not playing Arsonist, you can do that, which is why I always recommend, if you have a horse, having 1 or 2 Molotovs is always a very, very nice thing to have. Just because clearing out an entire town with literally $20 worth of is very, very nice. So Molotov is far from being the worst weapon in the entire game. I definitely think that you should only ever have 1 or 2 on you, unless you're playing Arsonist. And if you are, they're extremely good, and you also need a horse to really use them to their fullest potential. Alright guys, so coming in 11th place is going to be the cannon. Now, in my opinion, the cannon is only going to be this low because the ammo is actually finite. Like, you can only get a certain amount of the ammo, which is the only reason why cannon's going to actually rank this low. If it wasn't for the ammo, like, being limited, I honestly think cannon would rank a lot higher, because not only is it really good against the Tesla boss, it's also really good against werewolves, because it does an absolute ton of damage while also doing splash damage. I mean, as you guys can see from a range here, it's a little hard to hit if you don't use the cannon that much, which I don't. I don't use cannon that much, but I will admit it is extremely good against things like the Tesla boss and werewolves. So if you actually want to do fort and just grab the cannon, and you also want to do Tesla, using the electrocutioner and the cannon on him at the same time will pretty much melt that boss instantaneously. And in my opinion, just because of that, cannon's pretty decent. But because of the finite ammo, you're only going to be able to use it against the boss or werewolves. You have to pick and choose. And having 12 shots really is not that great in my opinion, which is the reason why it's going to rank 11th. If you don't mind having finite ammo and you guys are going to plan on doing Tesla, I would definitely pick up the cannon. Alright, so coming in 10th place is going to be the turret. Now, the reason why the turret's ranking so low, despite being honestly a really good weapon, like you guys can see, you can easily take out town hordes with it. It's mainly because not only is turret ammo hard to find until the end of the game, but also this locks you in one place, which I just honestly do not like. I do not like that it locks you in one place. I just think that's like, it's like asking to die. So unless you're at the end of the game, you really won't be using turret that much, unless you use it on towns like this. Like, you guys can easily use it on towns and kill like some of the zombies with it. It's a fairly safe weapon to use if you're at a range like this. But like I said, the reason why it's going to rank so low is because you probably won't be using this until the end of the game. And at the end of the game, you could honestly just use your rifle and it will perform better than the Maxim gun, the turret. But if I'm being dead honest with you, it can be a decent weapon, which is why it's going to rank decently high. It's just like, it's kind of wonky to use, and quite frankly, I do think the turret needs some sort of change. Just because if the only reason you're using it is at the end of the game, then why does it even exist? You could kill a slight horde of zombies with one ammo. I don't know, it's just a really weird weapon, and I quite frankly don't ever use it in my runs. Let me know if you guys use the turret at all. Now, coming in 9th place is going to be the holy water. So not only does the holy water actually do damage to itself, but the lightning bolts, it strikes down a ton of them. And honestly, holy water is an amazing, amazing, amazing weapon. It is the best, like, consumable weapon in the game. It's just that you could sell holy waters for 30 each, so I do recommend selling them unless you just really badly need an AoE weapon, because clearly it does its job well. I wasn't even training these zombies very much, and I just absolutely destroyed them. So it is a very, very good weapon, but only use it if you... I honestly think it's just kind of a better form of a crucifix. It's cheaper than a crucifix, and it strikes down more lightning bolts while also doing a small AoE around it. In the end, it is a very, very good weapon. Just only use it if you have too much money. Now, coming in 8th place is going to be the sawed-off shotgun. Now, the reason why this weapon is going to be so low, even though I know some people absolutely love this weapon, in my opinion, I think the normal shotgun is just straight up better. So the sawed-off shotgun shoots faster and it reloads faster, obviously. But I do think the sawed-off shotgun, the spread on it is so low that you basically have to be almost hit by the enemy to one-shot. Like you guys can see, if I was using a normal shotgun, that wolf right there would have been dead. So you basically already have to be in melee range to use it, but I will say having a ranged weapon is better than not having one. Hence why this is going to be above all of the melee weapons in this game. The consensus on sawed-off shotgun is, if you see it on the ground and you don't have, like, another shotgun, I do recommend taking it. Having one of each weapon type is always nice to have. And it isn't a completely terrible weapon. It is obviously pretty good, just because it's a ranged weapon, and it's a shotgun. So if you ever get to a sticky situation, you could kill a vampire with it in one shot. You won't be able to kill a werewolf, because it only has 2 shots. You will probably die to the werewolf. So just keep that in mind whenever you're using it. It's a fairly decent weapon. Yeah. Alright, so coming in 7th place is going to be the base revolver. Now, the reason why revolver is going to rank low is because it has all the drawbacks of being a revolver, but none of the, like, upsides of the other revolver types in the game. Let's be real here, it's a really decent ranged weapon, but it doesn't really stack up against any of the other ranged weapons, if I'm being honest with you. It has a slower reload speed than a lot of them, and it takes 2 shots to kill zombies to the head. If you shoot body shots with this, let's see real quick. It takes 4 shots to the body to kill a zombie. So I mean, like, it's a fairly decent weapon to start off your run with, of course, because it's a ranged weapon. It actually has ranged, unlike the sawed-off shotgun. If you're actually looking to use a revolver, I'd recommend replacing it with one of the better revolver types in the game. Just because the normal revolver, it's like, I think the best way to describe it, it's very basic. It uses a lot of ammo to get kills, but it is a decently ranged weapon, and, you know, it is what it is. Ranged weapons in this game are better than melees. It's better to have a revolver than not to have a revolver. Now, coming to 6th place is going to be the Navy Revolver. The reason why the Navy Revolver is going to rank below the Mauser, as you guys will see on the next ranking, is because the Navy Revolver isn't quite a one-shot to the head, and it reloads absurdly slowly. But as you guys can see, since it does more damage, it will be better against things like werewolves and vampires, just because of the like massive damage increase it actually has. It's quite a damage increase when you guys actually hit headshots. To the body, it is 2 shots, if you guys care about that. That is a pretty big deal. But it's just the reload speed on this thing is extremely slow. So that's the reason why it's actually going to be, instead of being a little bit higher on the list. But I will say against werewolves and vampires, or even against normal zombies, 2 body shots is always nice, and it's just a high damage revolver. There's not much else to say about it. Now, coming to 5th place is actually going to be the Mauser. Now, this is going to be the highest, like, starting weapon in the game. I almost just died there. Because this weapon has 10 ammo. So if you use this with a class like Survivalist, it is absolutely insane. It is also a Game Pass weapon, which does give it its benefits. But overall, it's pretty much just a revolver with 10 ammo. And I do think it is the best revolver in the entire game easily. If you find a Mauser on the ground and you have a ton of revolver ammo, I do recommend picking it up. Unless, of course, you want that damage that the Navy Revolver gives you. If you want the damage the Navy Revolver gives you, stick with that. But I do recommend taking Mauser in literally any other situation, because it does have a magazine of 10. And in all honesty, like, by the point in the game that you're going to be using Mauser over other weapons, you probably have more revolver airmen than you know what to do with. So having 10 magazine is better than having a 6 magazine that does more damage. That's just my opinion, though. I'm sure some people think differently. Coming in 4th place is going to be the shotgun. Now, the shotgun, honestly, is an extremely, extremely strong weapon. It's easily the second strongest weapon type in the game. Just because, as you guys can see... Sorry if that's very loud, by the way. I apologize for that. The shotgun is absolutely insane at dealing with zombies. First of all, the spread is lower than the sawed-off, so you're able to kill zombies from further away or anything. It's also... I honestly think shotgun is the best weapon. I almost just died there. I honestly think shotgun is the best weapon against vampires in the game, because you can one-shot vampires. Like, I would always carry a shotgun literally just to deal with vampires, just because vampires are extremely, extremely, extremely annoying, and shotguns make quick work of them. But yeah, 4th place shotgun, fairly fair. Now, coming in 3rd place is going to be one of my personal favorite weapons in the game, the bolt-action rifle. Now, the bolt-action rifle is going to rank lower than the normal rifle, mainly because of the fact that it has 5 ammo instead of 6. Yes, the bolt-action rifle, in case you guys are wondering, it does do more damage on headshots. So I will say the bolt-action rifle is better against things like werewolves and vampires because it does do more damage against headshots. But against the majority of the enemies in the game, which are going to be zombies and outlaws, it is completely worthless. The damage increase literally does not matter against normal zombies and outlaws, which, like I said, will be a majority of the enemies you fight in the game. But if you do actually want to do castle or things like that, I do recommend picking up and using this weapon over the normal revolver, just because it does do more headshot damage than the normal rifle. I mean, the normal rifle. It's a fairly good weapon. It's very basic. I mean, it's a revolver. And I do recommend always using it if you do not have the normal revolver. Now, obviously, guys, coming in 2nd place is going to be the normal rifle as the 2nd best weapon in the game. As you guys can see, it is a 1-shot to the head and a 2-shot to the body. Unless you're using Survivalist, then of course it is actually significantly better than that. But the reason why rifle is going to rank so high, it's extremely easy to get, and not only that, it's honestly just like an extremely strong weapon. As you guys can see, I was able to snipe these guys without getting hit by a single outlaw. And no matter how many there are, if you snipe them out of their range, they will not be able to hit you, and rifle is really good at doing that. Also, rifle ammo, obviously, you can buy it extremely, extremely, extremely easily. So, honestly, like, rifle is easily, like, the normal rifle is easily a god tier weapon. You'll have it in every single run. There's a reason why people always, always, always buy rifle. It is because it is simply the best normal weapon in the game. It is. It is the best normal weapon in the game. You could buy a ton of ammo for it, and it's not even expensive to buy the ammo. And honestly, just the one shot to the head will save you a lot of times. It's one of the best ways to kill a werewolf, unless you cheese the werewolves. So yeah, just rifle is going to be your bread and butter of dead rails. Easily the best normal weapon in the game. Always pick up a rifle. Always. Alright guys, so coming in first place is going to be, of course, the Electrocutioner. You guys are probably wondering where this weapon ranked on this list, and it is in fact in first place. I honestly think this is for a very obvious reason. The only downside to this is you can only reload with lightning, but you can use things like crucifixes, you can use lightning rods to literally just recharge this weapon. So it's insanely easy to recharge. It does a ton of damage. So this will help you clear stuff like castle extremely easily. And of course, against the final boss, you'll be fighting Tesla, which you will need this weapon for because Tesla has a lot of hit points, let me tell you. Alright guys, so as you can see, that is the Tesla boss. And of course, I'm going to be firing the Electrocutioner at him every single second he gets close to us here. So as you guys probably know, this guy has a ton of HP, and look at the Electrocutioner just absolutely destroying his hit points. Look at this. He was playing conductor, by the way, and I warned him that would happen, but he did it anyways, and boom, there is a Tesla victory. So yeah, Electrocutioner, obvious first place. You guys just saw the amount of damage it actually just did. An insane amount of damage. Now let me revive my noob friend here. There you go, buddy. Anyways, guys, that's actually going to be it for this video. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to like, button, subscribe. If this video helped you out at all, make sure to do the things before. And yeah, join my Discord. I hope to see you next one, guys. Peace out.